Hello and welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. This is a Patreon-only episode on the player who you picked that you wanted next. And that, of course, is Uruguay's Luis Suarez. Thank you to every single one of you who's continuing to support the podcast on Patreon. You have no idea how much it helps. Luis Suarez was born in Uruguay in January of 1987. And get this, he was the fourth of 7 boys. That is a lot of boys in one household. Luis' brother Paulo was also a professional footballer and played in a top team in El Salvador. Football clearly ran in the family. Like many footballers who have been so very successful, Luis Suarez learnt how to play football on the streets. In fact, he spent a lot of time on the streets, as at the age of 15 years old, he got himself his first proper job, and that was being a street sweeper on the streets of Uruguay. Luis loved his football very much, and he was sometimes not doing great in school. So his mother would go to his football coaches and tell them that he was being a little bit naughty with his schoolwork, and that she wanted them to tell him that if he wasn't going to do his schoolwork well, then he wouldn't be playing football. Some of Suarez's football coaches said that when he was younger, he was so determined, so powerful, and so up for it at every moment of every game. Luis always loved the competition. He loved getting in other players' space and playing mind games with them. He wasn't scared of anyone, even when he was tiny. He was a fearless little player. When Luis was young, a car ran over his foot, breaking some bones. But despite the injury, he continued to play and people couldn't believe it. Although this showed how tough he was and how much he wanted to play football, if you are injured, the right thing to do is always listen to the medical professionals. Initially, when Luis was playing for some teams when he was younger, he struggled a little bit with finishing. He could get in the right position and he was powerful, but he just wasn't scoring goals as much as he would have liked to. Sometimes, spectators would make comments about his lack of ability to hit the back of a net, but it just made him even more determined. One of his football coaches said in a fairly recent interview that even to this day, he has yet to meet a player who has the determination that Luis Suarez had as a young lad. He'd never seen anything like it. Suarez wanted to become an elite goal scorer, and he would stop at nothing to make it happen.